All right, baseball fans already know today is the first day of Major League Baseball spring training, and some rule changes are in store.
That's right. This season, there will be a pitch timer to shorten the length of games. Defensive shifts are also banned, while bases are larger in an attempt to improve the quality of play. So joining us now to talk about this is Matt Snyder. He is an MLB writer for CBS Sports. Matt, welcome. It's good to have you with us. So let's talk about defensive shifts, first of all. Explain what they are and how have these defensive shifts impacted the game of baseball? Because I think folks will wonder, why is the league doing this? What do they hope to achieve by banning them?
It's become a bigger and bigger thing in recent years that teams have gotten better at scouting in terms of like where the opposing player hits the ball mostly. And I think if we go back to Little League, I think you can think of, if we picture going from left to right, we have third baseman, then the shortstop, then there's second base, then there's the second baseman, then the first baseman, and then there's first base. Especially with left-handed hitters who hit the ball to the right side a lot, which is between first and second base, teams have been stacking multiple defenders in there. Sometimes all four infielders. Sometimes they'll put guys in like shallow in the outfield, and then it enables the right fielder to back up, stuff like that. And one of the biggest complaints I heard from outfielders or from hitters was that a ball that had traditionally been a base hit, like a line drive to shallow right field, now there's a guy standing right there and it's not a hit anymore. Or something that if they hit a line drive that would hit the base of the wall, now the right fielder is standing all the way back there because they have an infielder in the shallow outfield. So now they have to have at least two guys on each side of the base. And more importantly, I think from talking to players, is that all four of those infielders have to have at least 1 foot on the infield dirt. So you can't have guys standing in the middle of the outfield who should be infielders. One of the main things that baseball is trying to solve here is batting average has gone way down in recent years, and it wants to open up more areas of the field for base hits so the batting average will go back up and we'll get some more action.
And Matt, I'm wondering if this is more about the players or the fans, because I love to watch baseball, being there in person. The atmosphere is incredible, but I understand they've been trying to fasten and speed up the game because young folks aren't being drawn to it the same way their parents were. So are players supporting this idea of the pitch clock, for example?
I think that most pitchers don't like the pitch clock at all, but as you said, it's more about the fans. And I think one of the biggest complaints we get from casual fans, not necessarily diehard fans who will sit there all night and they don't care how long it's going to take, but casual fans who might take in a game every once in a while, is the amount of downtime. Some of the problems that they're trying to solve with all the different rules is just having more action. And things have moved a lot toward a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks, and a lot of home runs. All of those things have nothing to do with the field of play.
Right.
And so in addition to trying to get action on the field of play, we're trying to cut down on the downtime. If a pitcher's standing there on the rubber with the ball taking signs for 30, 35 seconds, that's just not exciting. That's really boring. And so in addition to many of the other things that we're trying to do to get action on the field, having less downtime in between pitches is another one of those goals. And it's been used in the minor leagues in recent years, and I can tell people maybe there are some diehard fans out there who don't like the idea of a clock. From going to some of these minor league games that I've seen, you really stop noticing the clock pretty quickly. It's just a lot quicker action.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and I'd be curious also what Americans' sort of attention span has been when, 50 years ago compared to now. We live in this instantaneous, get it on demand kind of society. So I'm sure that has been factored into their decision as well. But overall, Matt, how different do you think baseball is actually going to look given these changes this season?
Like I said on the pitch clock, I feel like you kind of stop noticing it quickly. So let's say by the middle of the summer or so, I don't think that we'll notice it that much. It'll just kind of move a lot quicker. So that will be good. In terms of this shift, I think that we are going to see a lot more base hits, where in the last few years, something like a line drive up the middle or a line drive between where the first and second baseman would be, those feel like they're, at least aesthetically for me, feel like they should be hits. And in the last 5, 6, 7 years, there have been defenders standing right there. Now I think we're going to get back to those being base hits, and we're going to get more on-field action. And I think that it's a net positive for baseball.
Yeah, it's all about the action at the end of the day.
That's right.
Anyway. All right, Matt Snyder, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.